Hey everyone, how's it going? Juan Dhas here, and welcome to this week's video. Today I'm actually doing a perspectives video as opposed to a lesson, just because I haven't done one in a while, and I think it'll still be informative for some people, but I was thinking about a really interesting topic and I just thought, okay, this might be a really good discussion point, and it's about what goes into creating an original voice, what goes into crafting it, and this kind of came about from a transcription job I was doing for someone. By the way, do bear with me if I ramble a little bit, and this is just a perspective I'm offering. So I was doing a transcription job, and it was actually a Pat Metheny tune. He wanted the entire Pat Metheny guitar part transcribed. So I was working on that, and it started to get to the point where there were so many Metheny-isms, let's call it, that I started being able to almost anticipate where one of those would be used, or even when he would articulate certain notes, picking up on, oh, okay, yeah, that's expected. I think a standout moment was the audio file I was sent had the attack of the first note cut off, so I wasn't sure, did he articulate it, or did he not? And then I'm thinking, okay, I have the feeling he did, and sure enough, when I sourced the original audio off the record, it was watercolors, by the way, which I highly recommend. Go check it out. Sure enough, there was a hammer-on leading into the first note. Now, this isn't a breakdown of Pat Metheny or why Pat Metheny has an original voice. I'm just using this as an example for what triggered this thought process. But it really got me thinking about, okay, how is Metheny's voice so unique? How are other musicians' voices so unique? I mean, we think of Holdsworth, we think of Coltrane, we can think of Sonny Rollins, Chick Corea, Herbie Hancock. Name any major musician across any genre. Steve Vai. How do all of these musicians craft their own voice? And I think that's something a lot of people at some point or another are pretty interested in, especially when they start really diving deeper into music. And I think this is going to be a bit of a long one, but to kind of tackle the first part, I guess we have to look at what creates an original voice, or what are the markers of an original voice. I mean, we can start by looking at the three major pillars of music: melody, harmony, and rhythm. What about melody? Yes, the way note selection plays into things definitely is a marker of a unique voice. You can listen to Pat Metheny, hear a few notes, and go, oh, that's Pat, or that's Pat's melodicism in his composition. The same thing could be said for Coltrane, or Alan Holdsworth. Is it harmony? Alan Holdsworth is an excellent example of that. You hear a few sequences or harmonic sequences, and you can understand that's Holdsworth. Rhythmically, many musicians are known, okay, this guy really pushes the beat, this guy really plays behind the beat, this guy's known for playing on the beat. So some musicians are known for their rhythmic sensibility. But I don't think it'd be fair to say that one aspect alone is an indicator of an original voice. I think it's the sum of all the parts with maybe a focus on a few things or a few standout ideas. Rather, to put it simply, there's an extremely solid foundation, and then there are a couple of standout points that go, oh, that's something that's really unique to this guy. There are also other things, namely with guitar players, tone is very important. This can go for horn players as well, even keyboard players and pianists. I'm sure if I say Got a Match by Chick Corea, most people can hear the intro with that keyboard patch in mind, because it's such a memorable sound. Sometimes we can even talk about composition, how someone strings ideas together. Actually, I think for many of the unique original voices, composition is kind of like the playground for people to really develop their voice. At least that's something I see in a lot of the people I look up to. A lot of the people I look up to who have a very distinct voice usually tend to be composers in some way or another. Use of technology is another one. I mean, Chick is a great example. Kurt Rosenwinkel. I think if we think of Kurt, some of us will automatically think of the Pog or the Hog pedals and how he uses that to craft his sound, which kind of ties back to sound. So there are many individual factors that influence what is an original voice. But then, how do people develop these? Okay, it's not as if someone's naturally born with understanding the intricacies of melody. It's not as if someone is born understanding a harmony. So let's dive a little deeper. And I think this gets to another point that I think a lot of people miss sometimes, and is a common, not issue, I don't want to call it an issue. I think it's a common trap that a lot of us can fall into in the initial stages of wanting to craft an original voice. From where I'm at right now, bear in mind my viewpoint on all of this could change in 5-10 years, who knows, but this is where what I'm seeing and what I think currently. An original voice comes from two halves coming together to create the whole. Actually, there's also a third element in there, but I'll get to that in a bit. The first half is an understanding of what came before. The other half is a curiosity to push forward into uncharted territory, or uncharted territory for the individual, rather, an urge to create something new. Lean too much in one way or the other, and you start developing an imbalance. So, if we lean too much to this side, which let's call it the studying what came before, you sometimes see the mimic pop up a little bit, someone who's kind of crafted a sound based on what came before, but it's very closely tied to what came before. It's anchored in the past, which is great, and it's great for building the foundation. Lean the other way, and you start wanting to craft your own voice immediately without the foundation. You might already be coming across stuff that someone's already done before, or you might be heading in a very different direction, a direction that doesn't have a lot of grounding per se, and you might be running in circles for a little while. And as such, because you don't have a reference point, this can happen. I'm not saying it's indicative of everyone who goes this way. Your worldview becomes quite small. So remember that third point I talked about that kind of influences both? Yes, you need to have both in check, but one thing that also a lot of us need to do when we're working on this, and this is something I have to remind myself to do every now and then, is check out some new stuff. Feed that curiosity, feed the reference, if you will. And one of the most important things about crafting a voice is taking the influences that you've been exposed to over the course of your entire life and filtering it through your musical lens. I think that's what any great composer, great musician, great composer, great musician, unique voice has done over the course of time. I'm sure you could trace the lineage through everyone's influences. But in my case, for example, melody is very important to me. The music I was exposed to as a kid was classical music, R&B music at home, also pop music, being played around the house. My dad listened to country music, and even though I'm not a huge country fan, surely that had some sort of influence somewhere in the chain. Everything you've ever listened to or had some sort of contact with will influence you in one way or another. And by filtering it through your own lens, you start collecting pieces from all of your influences. And I think that's truly something to consider, in that an original voice isn't maybe as original as some of us think. It's a collection of what you like in different musicians, a collection in things that you resonate with. Maybe you resonate with a harmonic direction akin to Holdsworth. Maybe you resonate with melodicism like Pat Metheny, or even like pop musicians, like Michael Jackson, for example. So you take elements of that, and then over time, or you start seeing, okay, I love orchestration, or I love this, I love that. And over time, your sound just becomes more complex, more refined, because you're filtering everything through your own musical lens. So I think that is probably the biggest takeaway I can leave you guys. Bear in mind, I'm on the journey myself. I don't pretend to know all of this, and I don't pretend to say that I've reached that level where I have an original voice. I think it's very much a work in progress. But it's food for thought. So I hope this video has been helpful for you guys, or at least got you thinking about some new ideas. And if you take anything away, it's when you're thinking of your own sound, or maybe where you want to be, look at your past, and also look at what comes in the past from the style you're working in. Take the good bits, or take the bits that will really help you, and then bring it forward in one way or another, using what you like best. So, as I said, hope this has been helpful for you guys. If you enjoyed the video, please do like, comment, subscribe, share the video if you'd like. And if you comment, please do let me know if you want me to do any other discussion topics for the perspectives videos. I'm always open to ideas. So take care, and I'll see you in the next video.